Tonight, we sent a message.
Earlier today, Governor Spanberger signed into law a ban on assault firearms and high-capacity magazines.
In the Commonwealth, we know far too well the horrors of gun violence that impact our communities.
The law makes it a Class 1 misdemeanor to make, sell, buy, import, or transfer an assault firearm.
She's a leftist, and she doesn't like guns or gun rights, former CIA operative.
I did warn Governor Spanberger that if she signed that bill, that we will immediately file suit. So far, she hasn't signed it.
All right, folks, we have a genuine emergency unfolding in Virginia right now. 30 days from today, on July 1st, 15 separate gun laws are going into effect simultaneously. Together, they will strip Second Amendment rights from nearly 8 million Virginians. Governor Spanberger signed off on this entire package. It is, by almost any reasonable measure, the single largest overnight destruction of firearms rights we have seen in any state in modern American history. I'm going to break down every single one of these laws right now because the detail matters and because they are counting on you not being able to follow all 15 at once. If you own an AR-15 in Virginia, if you carry concealed, if you're under 21, if you work at or shop at a local gun store, this hits you directly. Every single one of these bills touches your life, your property, or your freedom in some concrete way. And the timeline is brutal. July 1st, 2026. That is the effective date for all 15. You have 30 days to understand what is about to change and to act accordingly. So stick with me here. I know it's a lot of detail, but this is exactly the kind of video that matters.
Earlier today, Governor Spanberger signed into law a ban on assault firearms and high-capacity magazines. The law makes it a Class 1 misdemeanor to make, sell, buy, import, or transfer an assault firearm.
Background checks are proven to help law enforcement keep guns out of the hands of those who pose a danger to themselves.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger signed a series of gun control bills toughening a proposed assault firearms ban.
Let's start with the one everyone has heard about. SB 749, the Assault Weapons and Magazine Ban. This bans 6 categories of firearms outright. Category 1 is any semi-automatic centerfire rifle or pistol with a fixed magazine exceeding 15 rounds. No additional features required. Capacity alone triggers the ban. Category 2 captures virtually all AR-15 platforms. If your firearm is a semi-automatic centerfire rifle with a detachable magazine and any one additional feature, a pistol grip, threaded barrel, folding or telescoping stock, second-hand grip, grenade or flare launcher, it is banned. That single category eliminates something like 30% of commonly owned modern rifles. Category 3 covers semi-automatic centerfire pistols with a detachable magazine and any 2 features from a list. That list includes a second pistol grip, a magazine attaching outside the pistol grip, a barrel shroud, which is literally just heat protection, a threaded barrel, a stabilizing brace, or any characteristic of like kind. And let me be clear about stabilizing braces. Those exist so that people with disabilities can safely operate a firearm. Banning them as a dangerous feature is genuinely unconscionable, and there is absolutely an ADA challenge to be made there. Category 4 hits semi-automatic shotguns with folding or collapsible stocks, detachable magazines, or fixed magazines over 15 rounds. Category 5 bans revolving cylinder shotguns by design. Category 6 catches any firearm modified to meet any of these criteria. So to be plain, AR-15's banned, AK-47's banned, Ruger Mini-14's banned. Now there's a grandfather clause. If you legally own one of these firearms before July 1st, you can keep it, but you cannot sell it to another Virginia resident, transfer it to non-family within the state, import additional ones, or manufacture new ones. Violation is a 12-month jail sentence, $2,500 fine, and a 3-year firearms ban.
Governor Spanberger said she signed the bill, quote, to protect families and support the law enforcement officers.
In the Commonwealth, we know far too well the horrors of gun violence that impact our communities.
She's a leftist, and she doesn't like guns or gun rights, former CIA operative.
The new law prohibits the sale of semi-automatic rifles with certain features and magazine characteristics.
But here's why SB 749 is maybe only the 3rd or 4th worst bill in this package. SB 727, the statewide carry ban on so-called assault firearms, is arguably more devastating. Previously, restrictions on carrying these firearms only applied in a handful of blue localities. SB 7207 expands that to a statewide blanket ban on carrying or transporting these firearms on any public property, any public street, road, sidewalk, park, trail, beach, parking lot, government building, plaza, anywhere outside of private property. It removes the requirement that the firearm even be loaded. Concealed handgun permit holders are not exempt. It is not even clear you can legally transport your rifle to a gun range anymore. Transporting an AR-15 in a vehicle on a public road without complying with this law is now a Class 1 misdemeanor. This is the bill that makes the assault weapons ban truly devastating. Without it, people would just buy their guns before July 1st, keep carrying, and wait for the Supreme Court to strike SB 749 down. SB 7207 removes that option entirely. HB 1525 bans anyone under 21 from purchasing a handgun or assault firearm anywhere in the Commonwealth. An 18-year-old can vote, sign contracts, serve in the military, and die for this country. But Virginia now says they cannot buy a handgun to protect their family. It is a purchase ban, not a possession ban. So if you already own the firearm, you can keep it.
Today in support of H.R. 1808, the assault weapons ban, legislation that will help reduce the gun massacres being committed
here because gun violence is destroying communities, tearing apart families, and making our streets less safe.
We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of.
Tonight, we sent a message.
Now here's the one almost nobody is talking about, and it might be the most dangerous bill in the entire package. This bill creates an entirely new chapter in the Code of Virginia. It establishes deliberately vague standards of reasonable conduct for the firearms industry and opens manufacturers, sellers, distributors, and importers to unlimited civil lawsuits from the Attorney General, local prosecutors, and any private citizen. This is the Bloomberg model. Sue the industry into oblivion. Every firearm industry member must establish reasonable controls. But the bill provides no definition, no safe harbors, no compliance checklist. Whether your controls are reasonable gets decided by a court after the fact, after you've already spent everything you have on legal defense. The AG, who has essentially unlimited taxpayer funding, can sue a small FFL into bankruptcy without that shop ever having done anything wrong. Anti-gun organizations will spam lawsuits against every dealer in the state. If this law stands, your local gun shop could be one lawsuit away from closing its doors forever. And the coverage is insanely broad. Any person or entity engaged in the sale, manufacture, distribution, importation, or marketing of any firearm-related product. That includes optics, accessories, gun bags, everything.
I did warn Governor Spanberger that if she signed that bill, that we will immediately file suit. As far as she hasn't signed it.
I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice. That's not where we live today.
We are committed to preventing gun violence. We are committed to making an impact.
The Civil Rights Division will seek to enjoin any attempt to infringe on the right of law-abiding Virginians.
The red flag expansion bills are next. They redefine who counts as an intimate partner or cohabitant and expand the list of people who can petition to strip your firearms from 2 categories to 18. School administrators, doctors of osteopathy, clinical social workers, professional counselors, even an ex-girlfriend. The mandatory storage law criminalizes having a readily accessible firearm for self-defense in your own home if a minor or prohibited person is present. Your firearm and ammunition must be locked in a separate container. Someone breaks into your house at 3 in the morning and your gun is in a safe across the room, separated from the ammo. That is what they want. HB 909 massively expands gun-free zones around election sites, registrar offices during absentee voting, ballot drop-off locations, and a radius around each one roughly a third of a football field. If there is a ballot drop-off box in your neighborhood, you essentially cannot carry for the duration of the election. The campus and state building ban makes it a Class 1 misdemeanor for even concealed carry permit holders to carry in any building owned or leased by the Commonwealth. The mental health hospital ban effectively makes every hospital in Virginia a gun-free zone since nearly all provide some mental health services. And Spanberger's original amendments here were genuinely psychotic. She wanted to strip the exemption for security officers, making it illegal for armed security to protect these facilities. She also wanted to remove the exemption for people brought into a hospital unconscious or under emergency detention. Thankfully, the legislature rejected those amendments.
And the military features banned by this bill are added to make these guns more accurate, more controllable, more concealable.
We have to empower law enforcement to arrest the bad guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets.
We are taking action. We are getting things done, and we are trying to save lives.
They turn our streets, our schools, our grocery stores, our movie theaters, and hospitals into bloody battlefield scenes, and they kill our children.
The local firearm buyback program bill requires every county and city law enforcement agency in Virginia to establish a permanent buyback or giveback program by January 1st, 2028. Ask yourself this: why does the government need a statewide firearms collection infrastructure if it is not planning to use it? You cannot buy back what you never owned. The right to keep and bear arms does not come from the government. Calling this a buyback is propaganda designed to make confiscation sound like a fair transaction.
The House is finally taking a long overdue and necessary step to reinstitute a ban on these exceptionally dangerous weapons.
Just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you're violent. And I think what we end up doing is we start looking for a scapegoat.
To the House Rules Committee, I want to do whatever I can to get us to vote an assault weapons ban.
So let me give you the honest assessment. Is this a total loss in the short term for Virginia? Yes. It is catastrophic. 15 bills, all on the same day, flooding the zone so that no normal person can track all of it. That is not an accident, that is a strategy. But many of these laws are clearly unconstitutional under Bruin and Heller. And legal challenges are coming. The assault weapons ban, the carry restrictions, the under 21 purchase ban, all of those are vulnerable. The firearms industry liability bill may be the hardest to strike down quickly. The damage it does through litigation costs happens before any court can rule on its merits.
I think there's a capacity to find solutions on this that work, protect Second Amendment, protect our children. That's our priority.
But let me just say to everybody, we have an obligation to act with urgency. We have a responsibility to address this crisis.
I support the assault weapons ban because we cannot wait to act until the next mass shooting.
Here's where things stand right now. You have 30 days. If you live in Virginia and you have been thinking about purchasing an AR-15 or any firearm that falls under SB 749, do it now. The grandfather clause protects lawful owners as of July 1st. After that date, these 15 laws take effect simultaneously and your state changes overnight. Legal challenges are being organized, but court timelines are long and these laws will be enforced in the meantime. Stay informed. Know exactly what you can and cannot do after July 1st. Understand that compliance details on some of these bills are deliberately vague, which is the point. That's it for today, folks. I'll have updates as the legal challenges develop. See you in the next one.